What? It's a comic book. What? It's a comic book! Comic book! My kids love these things. I love them too.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Pickup Videos. If you guys recall, a little while back, I posted a video of some comic books that I picked up at an outdoor flea market. Well, the seller at this flea market and also garage sale, it was kind of like a two-stop seller, said that they were going to start a store up and that I could stop by sometime and visit and look at all their comic books. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'd like to come over tomorrow and just go through all your boxes. Are you cool with that? And he's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. I said, well, will you knock off a few bucks if I buy, say 100 for 40 or something along those lines, 100 comics for $40? He's like, yeah, we can work something out. So I'm going to show you the quick stack that I bought the first day. Then I'm going to reveal to you, I'm going to move the camera so you can see this, the box that I bought on Sunday. So this video is going to be a little bit longer, but it's a lot of comics, so just bear with me and we'll go through them really quick. So these first issues were 50 cents a piece, and these were all bought on the first day, so I didn't really get a discount on these outside of 50 cents, but who can complain about 50 cents? Punisher number 50, Punisher G-Force, and I have both of these already, but I thought for 50 cents, why not? Indiana Jones Last Crusade number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the complete mini-series, 50 cents a piece. Then in addition to that, the Further Adventures of Indiana Jones number 1 and number 2. So like I said, I just bought these in my quick 10-minute search through the box, and then I returned the next day and bought over 150 comics. And I'm going to share those with you here in a minute. Alright, so these are in no particular order whatsoever. I'm just going to lay these down on screen and kind of let you kind of take a look at them. To start out with, the first 100 comics that I bought, and I don't know what the first 100 are versus the next 50, were $40. Well, I of course have well over 100 picked out in my maybe pile, and I turned to the seller and I said, will you sell me another, I don't know, 50 for 15 bucks? And he said, yeah, sure, pick them out. So I bought another 50, so 150 comics now, up to $55. Well, I threw a couple other things into the deal and we got it over 60 bucks, and I'll share those with you. So this was in the original deal, and paid no attention to the price tag as that was shoved in the box. And I basically pointed it out to him. I said, is this supposed to be in there? He's like, if it's in there, I'll sell it to you for 40 cents. So I said, fair enough. So this is a Frank Miller issue of the Daredevil. And as you can see, I only paid 40 cents for it. And like I said, I'm just going to stack these. And I bought most of these are for reading purposes. I kind of put them together a little bit by genre. So we got your Batmans. This was kind of a unique one I've never seen before, an Atari Force comic. I've never seen one of those before, so again, these were really cheap. There's a Defenders, Hulk Prince of Wales, Hulk riding a whale. There's some Superman. Some of these I just simply bought because they were #1 issues, and I never heard of them. Like Air Raiders #1, for example. And then I found Justice #1, 2, and 3. And I thought, why not? And Ultraverse Curse of the Rune #1. I thought this was a pretty neat cover. Spiderman and X Factor #3. Here's some X-Men comics. X-Men, excuse me. And some of these are deluxe, so they're the thicker issues. But again, these These were actually my maybe pile, if I recall. So these would have been in the $15 lot. And I bought another issue of that. Figured why not. Everybody's favorite Robin, polybagged. And a Robin 2 hologram issue. There's a Batman. Now this series I never heard of, so I decided to do a little research before I did this, and that is Comet Man, or the Comet Man, number 1, 2, 3, 4 with She-Hulk, 5 with the Fantastic Four, and number 6, which is the final issue of the series. Now the cool thing is this series was actually pinned, or I don't want to say pinned, but was created by a couple actors of all things. Miguel Ferrara, hopefully I'm saying that right, and another actor. And I just thought that it was really neat because I didn't realize those two were into comic book creation. Again, you know, stuff to read. There's a Daredevil Annual, number 10. Marvel Team Up Annual. And this one he actually sold me really cheap, and I think they're all in here. At least I hope they are. Otherwise I'm missing one, which I very possibly could be. But this is, again, I pointed these out to him. It was the Captain America Man and Wolf 1 through 4, or 1 through 7, even though it says 1 of 6. But I said, well, I'm not trying to do anything here, but, you know, do you count this as 1 or do you count this as 2? Because, you know, I'm not trying to steal a comic from you. He's like, count it as 1. So I actually got both of these for just, you know, basically 40 cents or less, which I thought was more than fair. And here is another one that happens to have 2 copies of something. I didn't even open it up, but the original Shield. And anytime I saw any of these polybagged issues with the cards or posters for 35 cents to 40 cents, I grabbed them. I thought that one looked pretty neat to read. And these I don't know much about, but this was when DC redid their comic book line. You know, Detective Comics, Crime Syndicate, which I don't know much about them. There's World's Finest. There's another Crime Syndicate. There's Nightwing. And some of these have variant covers. That's why there's a couple. Green Lantern, Catwoman, Superboy 1, and the variant. And Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. Then we have Infinity Inc. and the variant. And again, all of these were 40 cents or less. There's Plastic Man. There's Shazam. There's Aquaman and the variant. Justice Society. And again, this is like the rebirth or whatever. Again, I don't know about my comic books, but I thought for that, I'll take them. Here's a Spiderman issue with Morbius. So I grabbed that because I like reading Morbius. Here's an interesting book that I thought, the official index to the X-Men 1 and 2. And again, you know, it only counted as 1. More Batman. A Mass Effect comic. Didn't even know they existed. X-Force. X-Men Unlimited. Some more Batmans to read. Nothing special about those. Another Wolverine and Punisher, which I have already, but again, it was cheap. Heroes for Hire, number 1. Here's a Uncanny X-Men number 1. Mrs. Deadpool number 2. With a Deadpool 35. There's X-Force. Again with the weird cover, or I don't want to say weird, but here's Web of Spider-Man with a poster on the back. And again, you know, these were so cheap, it's like, why not? The new Invaders. A Future's End. I bought a bunch more of these in this lot. There's a Deathlock with the special cover, number 19. I already have it, but I thought it was cheap, why not? Here's a Batman and the Outsiders. Here's a Justice League, Future's End. Deathlock number 2. Phantom Stranger, Future's End. There's Midnight Suns with Morbius. I can't tell what number that is because it's covered up by a 75-cent sticker, but Namor. Sorry about that. Here's USA Agent 4, 3, 2, and 1. The entire miniseries. And another small miniseries that I picked up. I picked up the Lethal Foes of Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, which I always thought that was a cool cover. I remember seeing that as a kid and thinking that was really neat. Now, I don't know much about this, but here is US 1, number 1, and number 2. And here is Mark Hazard Merc, number 1. And this one, technically we're making this a sports video. A Brooks Robinson comic book, which I thought was really neat, especially since I just recently had written Brooks and got him to sign a card for me. So kind of wish I would have had this before I sent it to him, but we'll think about maybe sending that in the future to him. Alright, so Invincible Iron Man number 1. This is an Avengers 369 with the weird holo embossed cover. I don't even know what to call that. This is Marvel Age number 6, and it says preview of beta day, I guess. I don't know what that means. And this is a Ghost Rider number 1, which I thought was pretty neat because I never had a copy of that till now. This is a Batman, and it says variant cover. So Batman number 396, and again, I don't know my comics that well, but I thought as cheap as it is, why not? I bought another X-Force sealed in the bag, number 1, but I also bought one unsealed. So now I can read it finally without having to open my poly bag. There's a Thunderstrike number 1. Here's an oldie, a Kid Colt Black Rider Apache Kid, number 16. This is kind of a neat one. This is Brave and the Bold number 200. Again, this was only 40 cents. And I have this issue already, but I always love it because it's got the weird, you know, gold chrome or whatever that is. Infinity Crusade number 1. Then Shogun Warriors number 1, which I thought was kind of neat, kind of a generic Voltron if you want to get technical. Then we got Aquaman, Future's End. And this one is a newer comic, and I thought for 40 cents might be worth reading. Age of Ultron versus Marvel Zombies, which I thought that was rather interesting. So, well over 100 comics there. And again, I've got 50 more to go, so stay with me. Alright, so here are the next 50. We have Tribe number 1. 2 copies of that, and I know I already have this, but again, for 40 cents or less. I thought this was kind of interesting. Fred destroys the Marvel Universe, special all-death issue, and I thought that was kind of a unique spin on Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. Never read that before. Fallen Angels #1, which I don't know much about that. New Warriors #25. New Warriors #7 with the Punisher. Ravage 2099 #1. There's a Deathlock #3. Punisher Summer Special, again, already have it, but why not? X-Men Archives #1. X-Men Archives #3. And X-Men Archives #4. So I'm missing #2. Khazar versus the Punisher, which I didn't know that was a thing. So I definitely buy any Punisher related issues if I see them. Here's an X-Men 296 polybagged. And I actually got 2 of those with the trading card. Then we have a Spiderman #10 Annual. Fantastic Four #1, which I'm not really sure what that is. And this one was kind of neat, a Silver Sable #1 with Passport. Oh, looks like this one has 2 in there as well. Oh, never mind, it's just one. Marvel Superhero Super Special #2. Is that the same as that? No, that's Marvel Action Hour. The Shroud #1. Another Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark #1. Man of Steel #3, 4, and 5. The Losers with a DVD, it looks like, which I thought was kind of cool. Night Thrasher #1. Play the Bad Guy #1. The new Shadowhawk #1. Brigade #1, which I know I have that. Shatterstar #1 and 2. And another #1. Dead Kings #1. Heroes Reborn: The Return Part 1 of 4 and Part 2. Motormouth with the Punisher. Spider-Man and X-Factor again. I have to put that with the other issue, wherever that went in this pile. Wonder Man #1. There's a Darkhawk with the Punisher. Mystery Inc. Is that #1? Not really sure. Maybe. I don't remember picking that up, but Images of Shadowhawk #1. West Coast Avengers #53. X-Men 310. Blackhawk trade paperback. Man of War #1. Action Zone #1, which has a Ninja Turtle on it. Cyberspace 3000 #1. Batman Chronicles. Supermen of America #1. Union #1. And The Origin of Microchip Punisher #1. So that was the 150 comics. Now, I did go through another box that were individually priced. However, he gave me a super deal on them. And for $1 more, don't pay attention to the tags. I really enjoy reading these. I got a Witching Hour #83. And Unexpected #164 with the chunk missing. And those were 50 cents each. And my biggest purchase of this deal, the most expensive comic, are you ready? And you saw it briefly in the intro, is a Masters of the Universe #1, which I was so pumped to find this. And unfortunately, it's the mini-series #1. It has a $20 price tag on it. And he said, give me $4. So I threw in a couple other things. I had a video game, a GameCube controller, actually 2 video games, and it all came out to $65 for everything. So not a bad pickup if you don't ask me. Thank you for sticking with me through this long video. I realized it was kind of long, but I had a lot of comics to show. Look forward to your comments down below, and as always, happy collecting.
Look, you can't put the Superman number 77s with the 200s. They haven't even discovered red kryptonite yet. And you can't put the number 98s with the 300s. Lori Lamaris hasn't even been introduced.
Where the hell are you from? Krypton?